Good evening and welcome to another Sunday show, The Buyer's Market. I'm Darren Ravel from the Action Network, and we have a great show tonight. We are going to be talking about Michael Jordan, again, every day since the last dance, and the 1986-87 Fleer case that is being auctioned off this week from Collect Auctions. We'll have Steve Blado of Collect Auctions on the line. He'll talk to us about that. We're going to have Eric Norton of Beckett, and we're going to have Rick Lozano, a broadcaster who obtained a pair of Michael Jordan game-used rookie shoes, got them signed, and then got them signed again in 1991. It signed my first pair, and that's off in the Golden auction that closes on August 22nd. A couple of things that have happened in the hobby. The Zion cards keep going up, and I think people have gotten a little bit worried about that. And Michael Jordan game-used shoes continue to sell big time. This morning, 450,000 at Gotta Have It Collectibles for the March 1986 shoe that was altered for Michael Jordan, an Air Jordan 1 that had like a Velcro strap so that he could play as he came back from an injury in 1986. $450,000 that does not top Sotheby's, which in May had a $540,000 shoe. But Rick's shoe at Golden Auctions could potentially top that for the highest Air Jordan shoe ever. Okay, I am going to bring in Steve Blado right now from Collect Auctions. Steve is coming to us from Waupaca, Wisconsin, where he's based. Steve, how are you?
Great. How are you?
I'm doing really well. You have 123 unopened boxes or things that are unopened in your auction. Before I get to the 1986 Fleer case, can you give me, at least according to how you've watched it, how unopened has kind of just absolutely blown up in the last, say, 3 years? What happened?
People just started to realize how rare it was. 70s stuff and pre-70s is virtually impossible to find anymore. And the box breakers have also contributed to that too, because that's becoming a big thing. And every pack, every box that's busted, supply is down.
And then obviously you heard about the big ones, whether it was like sometimes there's a 52 Bowman pack or very rarely a box, and these things are going for hundreds of thousands of dollars. The 86 Fleer. Now, I was deep into my collecting in 1986. I was a huge NBA fan, and many people have heard me tell this story before. We did not want anything to do with 1986 Fleer basketball. It was baseball, baseball, baseball. Even though I went to every single Jordan game when they came to New Jersey, I was there. Okay, but it just was Fleer. It was their first set after a while. So in '86, that's why it's the Jordan rookie. And none of us touched it. And I remember it was 50 cents a pack. And then the next year, almost like the 52 tops that got dumped in the ocean, the next year, these packs were selling for 10 cents and they were still there at the gas station and people still didn't buy them. That's how much of a pariah these packs were. And and I heard all these stories that it would be $72 a case and there'd be hobby guys who'd send back an entire case. Now that case that they were happy to get credit for $72 is now an intact case, is now at $1.54 million on your auction. And so I guess it's the Jordan card exploding over the last 2 years that makes this. Plus, we've only really had boxes, right, instead of a case before.
Right. We've only had boxes and they've never been from a sealed case. So the guys that are really into this, that would know, Steve Hart of BBC, this is the only case he's seen since the 90s. So I'm not sure if this is the only one, but as hot as Jordan is, I would assume things have come out of the woodwork and nothing else has.
Now, where did you find this?
It's consigned by, I'm revealing it. I don't reveal consigners, but it's Larry Fritch cards
Okay, so
out of Stevens Point.
okay, so Larry Fritch, he's been around forever. He he has a ton of this stuff. I mean, he's been around since 1970, I think. And a lot of the stuff that you have in the auction that's unopened is Fritch.
A decent amount of it, yeah. It's consigned now by Jeremy Fritch. And yeah,
And
decent.
the 86 Fleer, that tape that is over the box, that is original tape.
Yes, it is.
Okay.
It is now a lot more solid because we got it wrapped by Steve Hart. That and the other 4 years of Fleer cases. So it's a little more solid than just that flimsy little piece of tape.
Okay, so let's talk about Steve Hart. I wanted to have him on the show, but he had a conflict today. What an incredible niche this guy has at Baseball Card Exchange. Essentially, he affirms whether obviously you could take an iron potentially, especially on wax packs, seal them up. You could, there's a lot of people trying to get ahead, but he affirms that something is normally a sealed box, but in this case, a sealed case. Does he tell me the act of bringing this thing to him?
It was a tense 3.5, 4 hour drive for us. I took it down actually with Jeremy Fritch. And a case is probably easier to authenticate than other stuff for him, but they still had to check it out, and it was pretty neat. He hadn't seen one in a long time, and he's seen pretty much everything. So
did he let you see his process?
Yes. We did it out in his store initially, and while they inspected it, and then we took it back, and I got a couple pictures of them shrink wrapping it and all that good stuff.
Anything that you could let me know about, like, what did he say he was looking for? Or was it just pretty simple?
Pretty simple. They're just looking for the tape being intact. And it's original, it's intact. There's no
Right.
way anyone could remove anything from it. Beyond that, it's a
Right.
case.
Now, I guess we're up to like $128,000 a box when you divide it. And the biggest box normally they're running about 75, 80,000 now. So would you argue that there's a greater prize to getting this whole thing versus 12 individual boxes?
It's $1 million question. It's kind of fascinating because we struggled with how to sell it, whether we break it and sell 12 boxes over time from a sealed case, or if we just put the case out there. I think somebody is going to want the case, and they're going to keep it intact, and it's going to go somewhere, and you're not going to see it for like 30 years.
So you think this is going to be taken as the box, and it's going to be collected and preserved as the box. And I guess, given the price and where we see it now, it seems like you made the right decision.
I think so. And I think it still has some upside. I mean, nobody knows where this thing is going to end at. It's literally the only case that has ever come out in the hobby. So I think it could go even higher.
The other unopened stuff you have 87, 88 Fleer, which is I think that's at like 130 right now.
Yeah.
And then it goes down and down and down. What's another unopened box that you're proud of that's in this auction?
There's a 73 top cello box. Those just don't exist. Like you can't find any history on it really at all. There's a 76 football wax box, which I think is really neat. You can find them once in a while, but not many.
I ask everyone who comes on this show, what the hell is going on right now? I mean, how I've been collecting for 30 years. How does this environment exist when we have people who are, have lost 20 to 30% of their salaries? When you would think that even if there are millionaires and billionaires out there, that potentially now's the time to save, not spend their money. What is going on, Steve?
I really can't explain it either. It started with, I mean, you could sense that people were home on their computers all day. And then the last dance, like, ignited the fire. And, I don't know why a Ken Griffey Jr. upper deck rookie is going for, more money than it has in a long, long time. And it's spread to LeBron and, I mean, Kobe for obvious reasons, and Trout and everything else.
And
I don't know what's going on.
the modern market is insane with Luka Doncic and Zion Williamson. It's like, my friends ask me, well, is any of my 80s, 90s stuff worth anything? And I say, for the most part, no. Have you bought anything since 2003? Like, the rule of, like, it's older, it's more scarce got thrown out the window when companies started doing one of 10, and then you layer on top of it the grading, which is now you have another. So the old rule goes out the window all of a sudden.
Yeah, it's amazing. It seems like everybody's got 400,000 rookie cards, so it's confusing to make sense of. But whatever they're doing, it's working, because you could, like you said, you combine the high grades with them, and one's a one of two patch card, and I've never seen anything like it. Even junk wax is selling.
I know, because, well, for nostalgic purposes, people just want to open it up and just enjoy. And maybe when there was an absence of sports, it seems like, we do betting around here, and it seems like people were just betting on the future or betting on the past, and that's what they wanted to do.
Yeah, it ties in with gambling a little bit, I think. I think some of the investors maybe have taken money out of the stock market.
Yep.
And are putting it into something they enjoy and is tangible right now. It's great for us. We just sit back and enjoy it, I guess.
What's the now? Obviously, this is probably going to be compromised by the fact that you have the '86 Fleer case, which is maybe the greatest thing you've ever had. But what are your website hits up compared to your last auction? Say,
we're definitely up. Definitely up significantly.
More bidders, more new bidders.
Yes, a lot of new registrants. Wider bidder participation right now. The perfect storm with the unopened lineup, and as hot as it is right now, been very, very active so far.
Steve, thanks so much for joining us. Collect Auctions closes is that's Friday, August 6th, is Thursday or Friday? Thursday. Okay. And how does your auction work? Does it close and then there's extended bidding until everything is done? Or
yeah,
is it
9 o'clock, 9 o'clock Central, 10 Eastern. Each lot goes into an overtime, which is when it does not receive a bid for 30 minutes, it closes. So it doesn't keep you up till 6 in the morning. It closes after 30 minutes, and you have to bid on that lot before that time in order to bid in the overtime.
Do we break $2 million?
I hope so. 1.5 was my pre-auction guess. So, I'm content right now, but it got up to that in like the second or third day. So I think we do break 2 million.
Awesome. Steve Blado, Collect Auctions. Thanks so much for joining us tonight.
Thank you very much for having me.
All right, there it is. 123 different pieces of unopened material in collect auctions, including, of course, the 1986-87 case, which includes 12 boxes, 36 packs each. In each box, there's an estimated 3 or 4 Jordan rookies, 3 or 4 Jordan stickers. So, and maybe there are nines and tens in there. The Jordan 10s are still selling for 75 thousand, $80,000. We have a raffle. It's hashtag MJ Art Raffle. It's a Nike canvas art. You got to follow the Action Network HQ on Twitter, and hashtag MJ Art Raffle. Reply to us, and you have a chance to win. We'll give the winner by the end of the show. Ev, do we have Eric Norton in? We do. Okay, I'm going to bring in Eric Norton now of Beckett Media. We're going to talk in general about this market and how crazy it is. Hard to reconcile with, as Steve told us. Eric, Darren Ravel here. How are you?
I'm well, sir. Thank you for having me.
Thanks for joining us. What do you think of this market right now?
It's crazy. It's a buyer's market and a seller's market at the same time. With you were talking about grading with Steve. Uh, the grading aspect of it is crazy. We've had 3,000 new grading customers since the beginning of the year at Beckett Grading. So it's crazy to see things happen like the LeBron, last week or the week before, and then that Mike Trout that's up at Golden Auctions. It's going to be ending next month. That's going to probably break the LeBron record that was just set.
What do you want, kid? Okay, I'll give you a printer. Sorry, we're doing COVID right now.
That's okay.
Okay, when you print, I'll get it out. So I will get you the print. On grading, what is grading like right now? What's your backup? Do you have more graders? Everyone wants everything graded.
Absolutely. So what we are in a backup. We're being very, very transparent with it. There is if you go to the Beckett grading site, there's an estimated turnaround calendar there for you. And we actually just we had to make some adjustments and to try to get caught up on our 10th and 30-day level grading. And that's going to happen with these adjustments that we announced announced on Thursday. They'll go into place on Monday when we get back to the office. So
how long is it taking to turn around? And obviously it depends on what I send you and how many I send you, but like, what's the normal turnaround on grading right now at Beckett?
So 2 and 5 day orders were right on time. 10 day orders were taking 30 plus days, which is not acceptable. And 30-day orders were taking 5 to 6 weeks, which is not acceptable. So we're looking to turn that around and get that back on track, which is why we made some changes to the 2 and 5 day order levels of grading service.
Okay, so and then obviously you guys battle with PSA.
Mm-hmm.
There are some cards that you do that they don't, or you do better. The Mike Trout Superfractor that is in the Golden Auctions, that's at 1.6 million or something like that right now. You guys graded. When a big card like that hits, I mean, that looks like that's going to break the recent LeBron record for the highest card ever sold in terms of value. Is that good for Beckett?
Absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, and how big is that it's in a Beckett case and it says Beckett 10 autograph, Beckett 9.5 on the card?
Absolutely. It's a really big deal because obviously there are other companies out there. We have competitors, and we want those big cards in those Beckett cases. Seeing that LeBron sell at 1.5 in a Beckett case was not a bad thing at all. Now seeing this Trout that's probably going to, I would think it's going to get close to 3 million. That's just my opinion in a Beckett case. That's not a bad thing. And collectors will tell you that they collect one company over another slab just for whatever reason, be it the aesthetics of it, or the value. And so there's a little give and take there, but seeing those big cards in a Beckett case, that's a really big deal, and we're proud of those things.
What is going on right now? I mean, is it people taking money out of the stock market? Is it gambling type of things. You say, okay, well, Kobe's 2-1 to raise my money so that I could get money out. Luka's 8-1, Zion's 20-1. Is it that? Or what is going on right now?
I think it's a little bit of that. And I would like to think it's all started last year in Chicago at the National. You were there for a little while, and
I was.
Gary Vee was there, and he was pumping up the market, and I think that brought a lot of new blood into the hobby. And then you had guys my age, 39, 40 years old, who, when this pandemic hit, were sitting at home with money and said, well, I don't have to, I need this. I used to have an 87 Bo Jackson or an 89 Griffey Jr. rookie, and I don't have that anymore, and I want that again. And they have some disposable income, and that's what happened. They all spent it on cards. I'm not even kidding when I tell you that when people got their relief checks from the government, a lot of that money went into cards. Absolute, a lot of it. It was crazy.
And then the other question I have to follow up is it real? Or what's happening is, are guys collecting a ton, and then all of a sudden, they know they have a certain number of cards, and then they say this is the next great card, and people listen to them. How do we figure out, how do new collectors figure out if it's real? Or wait a second, that was $250 on eBay yesterday, it's now $700. All us people were driven like sheep to a card.
Mm-hmm.
How do you figure out if it's real, and how much of that market is that exactly that?
Sure. I think if you pay attention to the NBA, Zion, Luke, you were talking about Luka earlier, Trey and John Morant. I think that market is very, very real. I think the Mike Trout market is very real. And I think the Pat Mahomes market is very real. All those, and Michael Jordan because of The Last Dance. But he was hot before then. But the Last Dance did wonderful things for the Jordan market. If you look at all those guys, everything else feeds off of it. And I think as long as the market stays strong on these current NBA players, these rookies, and those second level guys will continue to see a bump, and then maybe some of those third level guys. But this is getting to the point now where you got to have some real serious money to be playing in this game, and because if you don't, you're just going to be priced out of the market completely.
How do people compete in this market? What's the rule for discipline in gambling? We talk about a bankroll.
Mm-hmm.
There is an adrenaline bump here. There is eBay is going crazy. And you got to really be careful with how you're spending. So what do you advocate for?
Have a budget and don't spend outside of your budget. In this market, I've seen a lot of people spend outside of their budget, and I know that they're not going to be able to recuperate that money unless they sell the card that they just bought, or cards. Chronicles basketball came out on Friday, and it was $821 a box coming from Panini. If you don't have $821 to spend on a box of cards, don't spend $821 on a box of cards. It's really that simple.
Is it an investment at that point, or you can't really advocate for it being an investment?
It absolutely could be, but the thing is it's a box. You don't know what's going to be in it. You might hit the Zion rookie, you might not, and so Zion and Ja are really, really great. But if you hit some of those other guys, you're going to be. It's a gamble at that point, and I can't advocate that. I can't spend $821 on a box of cards, or $630 for Mosaic, or $600 for Prism.
Do you feel like people are getting out of control?
Absolutely, I do. I see it. I think a lot of husbands are going to have a lot of explaining to their wives to do about purchases they made on eBay, and sometimes it's going to get them in a little bit of trouble, a little bit of hot water.
Just like gambling, you win, you lose. It's the same thing. Eric Norton from Beckett Media, thanks so much for joining us. Really appreciate your insight.
Thank you, sir.
All right. Yeah, I kind of feel like it is. It's similar to gambling, which is why we're doing this show. What is going on in the card market right now is insane, and it's hard to figure out. There are these huge jumps in values. I haven't really gotten into cards lately. I've always kind of stuck to memorabilia, but I've gotten a couple. And if you don't catch that if that wave goes and it sails past you, man, it's hard to catch up. All right, we're going to bring in Rick Lozano now. Rick is a broadcaster. He has an unbelievable pair of shoes that is going into Golden Auction. It's actually up right now. It's at $144,000, and he obtained these shoes, and we're going to hear the whole story. Rick, are you there? I see him. Unmute yourself. I can hear you.
Rick's here, but we're just waiting for him to turn on video, D.
Ah, got it. Okay. All right. So that was my producer, Evan. He just got to turn on his video. There he is. I see him, and then I just need to hear him, and I think we're good. Rick, unmute yourself. Click the mute button, the mute button. There we go. There you are.
Oh, high technology. I'm not used to it. I'm not made for it. Sorry.
All good. You're in your Fox 11 LA truck right now. What's going on?
Well, these days I cover news and sports, and today they got me out covering all these fires that have erupted here in Southern California. So I'm at the command post, sitting inside the truck, waiting for my next call.
Okay, so let's get you in and out. Tell me the story of you obtaining these Air Jordans from his rookie year.
Right. So back when I was in San Antonio, I became really good friends with Gene Banks, who played for the Spurs and then went on to play for the Bulls. And in the off season between the 84 and 85 season, Gene got traded to Chicago. And so when he left San Antonio, I said, let's keep in touch. He said, sure. During the summer, we talked quite a bit. And that was when there was so much controversy surrounding Michael and his shoes. You recall the story about him wearing the Breads,
yes.
The black and they threatened to fine him. And then finally, Nike came out with the Air Jordan 1s. So during that off season, after Gene left for Chicago, we talked during the summer. And right before the following season, the 85-86 season began, we talked. I wished him well, and at the end of the conversation, I said, "Hey, by the way, Gino, give me a pair of those Jordan sneakers if you can." We kind of laughed about it, and that was the end of that. And so then December rolled around, and I met up with Gene at the Old Hemisphere Arena in San Antonio, and we talked before the game. And before the end of the conversation, he pulled out this pair of Air Jordans, which he had gotten from Michael. He had Michael autographed the shoes around the ankles, and he gave them to me. And I said, "How did you do this?" And he said, "Well, you said get me a pair of those Air Jordans, and I did." And it was just amazing. And before we go any further, I want to mention these shoes aren't mine; they belong to my kids. I back in those days, I got the shoes. And I said, these are going to be my kids' shoes, but I'm going to take care of them because, a 10-year-old and a 7-year-old, you can't trust with them, right?
That's a good move.
Yeah. So for the past 35 years, I've been in possession of these shoes that Gene Banks got me from Michael Jordan, who told him that they were from the season before his rookie season, and he autographed them up around the ankles. Now, fast forward to 1991, I'm now working in Los Angeles, and the Lakers are playing the Bulls in the NBA Finals. So I go to the shoot around before game 6, I think it was. It was the game where the Bulls closed it out.
Yeah, game 6.
So I take the shoes with me in a plastic bag, and I'm hiding them from everybody because, as you know, we journalists are not supposed to autographs. But I said to myself, when am I ever going to have this chance again? So I took them, and after we were finished with the interview, I made sure that I was the last one to interview him. And I stopped him and said, "Michael, sorry I was late. Can you afford another couple of minutes?" He said, "Sure." Interviewed him about the game, about the series, and then I pulled the sneaker thing on him. And I showed him the sneakers. And, it's funny because while I was explaining to him about the sneakers, he was looking inside, and I never quite could figure out what he was doing. And in later
he
years,
was looking to see if it was a player exclusive or if you bought it in a box.
Absolutely. And I found that out years later when I discovered he wore size 13 on one shoe and size 13 and a half on the other. So I immediately went to my shoes to to check them out, and sure enough, that happened to be the case. And it said TYPS for player sample, and so that's when I knew that I really had something.
So he basically wasn't going to autograph the shoes if you said they were real, but he determined they weren't.
I'm assuming that that's right. Absolutely. And so once he saw that they were the genuine article, I asked him to sign both shoes on the tips, the white tips, which he did. And I said, hey, wouldn't it be funny if I said something like, wouldn't it be funny if these were your first pair? I said, why don't you go ahead and just sign first pair right there? And he signed it first pair.
So it's not the very first pair, but we don't know. But
we don't know.
That's the story of the first pair inscription.
Exactly.
Now, where'd you keep them for 35 years?
Well, all the years I've kept the safe deposit box at my bank, and on occasion I'll go visit them and I'll take them. I'll bring them home so I can show people. But then I take them back and put them back in the safe deposit box where it's nice and cool and dark, and nothing's gonna destroy them. And so I've had them all these years, and with the
Last Dance.
The Last Dance, and what those sneakers did a few weeks ago, I said, you know what, now's a chance to get rid of them, and I can certainly my kids' lives can certainly be improved with whatever money we're blessed enough to make off of these, and so that's why we're here.
How you feeling right now, knowing that in 21 days they're going to be in someone else's hands?
I got to tell you, there's been a lot of pressure in keeping these shoes and keeping them safe and making sure that nothing happens to them. And so in one way, I'm going to feel relieved, but in another way, of course, I'm going to feel sad because they won't be in my possession anymore. They won't be in our possession anymore. We do have lots of photos of them, so we'll always have those. I do want to mention also, if you don't mind me saying so, that the whoever winds up with the shoes won't only get the shoes, but they'll get the video of Jordan signing them, because as you know, his autographing those shoes is on video.
That's awesome. Yeah.
One of the benefits of being in television,
right? Did you collect anything else over the years?
I do have some things that are valuable to me. I'm not sure how much value they hold, in terms of dollars, but I have an autographed Wayne Gretzky hockey stick. I have an autographed Kobe Bryant commemorative basketball that is from the season that he was named MVP of the league. I have an autographed Muhammad Ali boxing glove that's autographed both Muhammad Ali and Cassius Clay. And I've got an autographed Joe Namath football helmet. And those are some of the other pieces that I have.
So this thing closes August 22nd. I know Ken Golden has told me he thinks that they deserve to break the record, which is 540,000. Do you have any specific hopes?
Well, I'm hoping for the moon. I'm not quite sure, what they'll wind up going for, Darren, but I do know this, that these shoes have substantial provenance. They've got they've got a total of 4 autographs, 2 on each shoe, because when I received them from Gene Banks, they were originally autographed around the ankles, like I said. Then I added the 2 on the tip of the shoes. We have the letter from Gene Banks authenticating the story. We have the letter of authenticity for the signatures from Beckett. We have the letter of authenticity from Mears that they were game used in Michael Jordan's rookie season. And then also, which I think is very valuable, is the video. I mean, how many videos of Michael Jordan signing a piece of memorabilia do you have?
None, unless it's an actual signing.
Right. So I'm thinking it goes through the roof. I'm hoping so anyway.
Yeah, no, it's an incredible story. What does Gene think of this? Does he want him back?
No, he was very kind. When I called him and asked him to send me a letter of authenticity or a letter of confirmation, we talked about it, and he was very sweet, very nice guy. He runs a foundation in North Carolina, and I told him, Gino, whenever this thing sells, we'll send you a really nice donation. I offered him a personal donation. He said, no, let's not do that. Send me a donation to my foundation. So that's
that's awesome.
And that's what we're going to do.
Rick, thanks so much for joining us. This is I appreciate you being in your truck, and I'm glad we were able to talk. And good luck. I think it's an amazing, it was a good idea, even though he signed in ballpoint on the ankles, because that's kind of faded, to get that nice, and you picked the right pen too. You had a nice, beautiful Sharpie, and it's in incredible condition. And
Yeah.
whoever gets them is going to really have a treat.
All right. And for those who are watching, Darren, goldenauctions.com, go there and take a preview. There's a video there, and it explains everything that I pretty much just summarized right now. So thanks for the time. Really appreciate it.
You got it. Thanks, Rick. Golden
welcome.
Auctions, that closes, as we said, on August 22nd. And I just want to give you a last chance to win our prize. It's hashtag MJ Art Raffle. And it is a Nike canvas. So we're just getting the final push in. Please follow Action Network HQ. An awesome show. Really enjoyed talking to Steve Bladow of Collect Auctions. Again, that closes on Thursday, the 1986 87 Fleer case is the star, currently at $1.54 million. Unreal. $128,000 a box. What an incredible story that is. Eric Norton of Beckett, thanks for talking to us about the market in general. And of course, Rick Lozano with his 1984-85 signed 4 times Air Jordans in the Golden Auction on August 22nd. For Evan Abrams, I'm Darren Ravel, and the winner of the raffle is Christina 92786. My producer Evan will be in touch with you. We'll get you your address, and we will give you your MJ Art canvas. So thanks everyone for joining us on the Buyer's Market. We'll see you next week.